Hello, I am Stephanie. Welcome to Stephanie's Threads. I am joining you today from my studio in Western Colorado in the United States. Thank you for taking the time to spend a little bit of peace with me as I share my love of handmade textiles, my knitting, my crochet, my quilting, my sewing. I'm going to focus a lot on knitting today, but I hope that you will take a few moments to yourself to just enjoy my absolute passion for creating hand-knit textiles. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Stephanie's Threads. I do put links below this video so that you can see some of the items or podcasts that I refer to, so I hope that's helpful. I also break up the video in chapters, so if you want to jump ahead or return to something, I'm hoping to make that easier for you. If you enjoy this content, I would love it if you would consider hitting the like button, the subscribe button, the notification button so that you know when I upload a video. And I thank you very much for any comments that you might leave to let me know how you enjoy handmade textiles, how it brings joy to your life. That would just mean so much to me. I think this craft is something that is so precious, and I truly hope to inspire people to continue it and to pass it on to younger generations so that we don't lose the beauty and the peace and the joy that crafting brings to our lives. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about today is my first me-made item, freshly off the needles, and it is my Jaunty. Jaunty is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. It's a very adaptable pattern. She wrote it so that you can knit the weight of yarn that appeals to you. Andrea does write a lot of patterns that are geared or intended towards hand-spun yarn because she spins, and not a lot of not a lot of pattern makers point towards the use of that yarn. So people end up with these gorgeous skeins of hand-spun yarn that they're not quite sure what to do with. So this pattern has been knit by lots and lots of people with all kinds of variations in terms of yarn, whether it be store-bought, hand-spun, indie dyed, variegated, solid. It's just beautiful. And I'm not sure if you know, but if you go to Ravelry, if you use Ravelry, you can look at the project pages, and it's very inspiring to see what people are doing with this particular pattern. So this is a shawl pattern. It is an $8 pattern. One thing I've not been mentioning is for pattern writers where I love their work, I do join their newsletters, and Andrea in particular, when you join her newsletter, offers discounts all the time. So I'm certain when I bought the Jaunty, I'm pretty sure it was like a 15% discount on her pattern. So the pattern costs $8, but I purchased it for 15% less than that. She also does a big birthday sale each year. So if you, if you follow her, then you can get, she does a discount based on the year. So like when she turned 40, she did a 40% off discount. So if you're somebody like me who is frugal with purchases, then you can take advantage of those types of discounts, and believe me, it's well worth it. I don't join everybody's email lists, but I definitely pay attention to those pattern writers who are sensitive about offering discounts. So $8 US pattern. I knit mine on the recommended needle size, which is a US 6 4.0 millimeter. The yarn I used is something that I had in my stash. It was a very special purchase a couple years ago. I've been waiting to use it for something I really wanted. So this is La Bien-Aimée. This is two yarns held together. So the first one is La Bien-Aimée Merino DK. The second one is La Bien-Aimée Mohair Silk, both in the color of Dawn. And you can see, so this gave me, I'm going to guess this gave me closer to a worsted weight than a DK. And I'm hoping you can see all the lovely fluffy textures. This is knit in a fisherman's rib. So even though it's a more intentional knit, it went pretty fast. I think I knit this in just a couple of weeks, looking at, you know, picking it up here and there. It's to me, you know, I love when you have this V in the front. I do tend to wear mine just a smidge off the side. Very cozy, very warm. I just love it. I'm super happy with this knit. The color is very neutral to my point of view, very flattering, soft, so I can pair it with lots of things. And if you get a chance to make it, I hope you will. It really is fantastic when you have a pattern that allows you to just pick up a skein of yarn and do what you want to do with it. It's fantastic. So that is the first, pretty fresh off the needles, Jaunty. The next thing I want to share with you is what I'm wearing, another Me Made item. This is the Woodwardia Sweater. It's a raglan top-down sweater. The pattern is by Lydia Gluck, $15.47 US. I knit mine in Julie Asselin Nurtured in the color Green Mountain. It's a really gorgeous yarn. Julie Asselin is a dyer up in Canada. She makes incredible yarn. So this is knit on recommended needles. I used 3. The pattern calls for 2 needle sizes. The first is 6, 4.0 millimeter, and that's for the ribbing. The body is knit in a size 7, which is a 4.5 millimeter. And I actually knit my sleeves in a size 8 needle, 5.0 millimeter. And the reason is because I learned a tip from Andrea Mowry, which is to say, because these are all knit on circular needles, and when we are knitting in a smaller circumference, we tend to tighten up our gauge. So Andrea said that one tip is to go up a size from what you knit your body in, go up a needle size for your sleeves. That way your gauge on your sleeves won't be too tight. And I have to say, I started doing that a couple of years ago, and it completely changed the fit of my sleeves. And interestingly, when I measured my gauge after blocking, I would find that the gauge I had in my body, knitting on the body, with one size needles, when I went up one size to knit on my sleeves, the gauge matched. Whereas if I looked at sweaters that I had knit previously, the gauge on my sleeves tended to be smaller. I thought that was so interesting. And I appreciated the tip, and I have followed it ever since. The Woodwardia is a wonderful pattern. As I said, it has these beautiful raglan increases, very interesting, very, very easy to knit. And let me back up so I can show this to you in terms of how it fits. It's a more cropped sweater, incredibly comfortable with the yarn. The Julie Asselin Nurtured yarn, when I first got it in the skein, I was like, oh, because it's a non-superwash. So it felt not prickly, maybe a little stiff, but when you wet block it or even steam block it, it softened and bloomed so much. So this is one of my, I would say it's one of my most comfortable, heavier weight sweaters. I absolutely love it. I find the color very soothing, very calming, and just one of those sweaters that I put on and feel very comfortable to be out and about and doing anything that I need to do, or if I'm going to a luncheon or something, I feel, you know, that I'm presenting perfectly fine. So it's a beautiful, beautiful knit. I love this sweater. I'd make it again in a heartbeat. So that is the Woodwardia. The next thing I want to talk to you about is what's on my form. This is the Evendoon Pullover. And I thought it would be interesting because it is a stripe sweater. This is a DK weight sweater pattern by Kate Davies. I have knit many Kate Davies patterns. I love the way her garments fit, and often she introduces a new structure, a new technique for creating structure in her garments. So I have knit, which I'll show you in a different episode, I've knit the Carpbeth, I've knit the, there's the Carpbeth, and then there's the Carpbeth, a couple same names, but fantastic yarn, and they're heavier weight sweaters, but they don't feel, she still manages to make you feel very feminine when you're wearing them. So I do love her patterns. I think she's an incredible designer. Okay, so this is a $11.25 pattern US. The gauge on it is 22 stitches. I got a gauge of 20 stitches, so I knit the 7th size. I have lost some weight this year, actually last year, 2025. So this is a little bit big on me now, but it's a very fun sweater to wear, very festive, I think, on days when you're kind of in the throes of winter and you feel like you need a little cheer. I will put this on and I cheer myself up instantly. I knit mine on a US 6 4.0 millimeter along with a US 5 3.75 millimeter. The ribbing, of course, is the 5 and the body is the 6. I knit mine in predominantly Madeline Tosh DK twist. So this is, and I'm going to go through the colors just a little quickly because I don't even know if some of this yarn is still available. I bought it probably 3 or 4 years ago before pulling it out to use it for this sweater. So this is in what you can see, and in Kate's, many people when they knit this, and again, if you go into Ravelry, you can look at the project pages and you can see lots of different inspiration. But you'll notice with the stripes, in between the stripes, there is a consistent through color. And a lot of people chose to do that in a cream or a lighter color and then let the colors pop. But I really like the idea of emphasizing the demarcations with a different color. So I used blue, which in this color is called Translation. I'll hold it up so you can see it close. So this is the blue that it's the ribbing on the bottom, and then it also demarks between the different colors. The other colors I used are Grapefruit, which I just thought was a fantastic orange. Now, I also chose to put some, I wound in some variegated yarn along with some tonals. I really like that effect. So this variegated is called Mars in Retrograde, and the tealy aqua color is Hosta Blue. And then I pulled 2 other yarns from my stash. One is the Suburban Stitcher Merino DK in the color Dandia. That's this cream with these wonderful flecks in it. And then I used an Uncommon Thread Merino DK in Les Fleurs, which is this very vibrant pink. I wanted something very vibrant, very cheerful. And so I really used kicking off with the Grapefruit and the pink in the Mars in Retrograde, and then just added in some softer colors for the others. So that is my Evendoon pullover. Love it, wear it regularly. DK weight sweater, which is super comfortable and just easy to throw on. And this is I would say this is more of like a sweatshirty type fit. So nothing super fitted, just a raglan, very quick to knit, because for sure if you've knit stripes, you know that these types of garments knit themselves because you get so excited to move to the next color that you whip right along, and it's super satisfying from an achievement perspective because you really see, oh look, I'm on my 5th color. So it's a wonderful, I find it's a wonderful motivator. That's the word I would use. Okay, the next thing I want to talk to you about is my Ole Mittens. I brought these up during my first podcast, my first episode, and I told you that as a Gemini, I need options. So I bought 2 colors to make. This is the second pair that I knit. These are the Ole Mittens. It is a pattern by Suzanne Mueller, who goes by Paula Strict. It's a $4.63 US pattern. Very elegant mittens. I knit mine in Knit Picks Andean Treasure, which is a very soft, squishy yarn. I'm so happy with it. I knit mine on a US 3.25 millimeter, which is different than the recommended needle size. I found when I tried to use the recommended needle size, it was too small. So these are my finished ones. I want you to notice something. Do you see this lovely line of increases, which you do? She has a great technique for introducing the thumb, because what you do is you knit, of course, the body of the mitten, and once you get here, you put your stitches for the thumb on hold, and then you go back and you finish the thumb. Again, notice the lovely decreases, evenly matched on the left and the right mitten. Yes. Well, I'm going to put on the first pair that I knit, which is in the color Coriander Heather. And I'm going to show you what had occurred, which I didn't notice until I finished. So I knit 2 left mittens. Yes, I did. This is you can see that's with the correct increases. This is inside out. So this is this way. However, you'll notice I also didn't even do the increases correctly here for the thumb. So I didn't even notice, to be honest with you. I finished knitting the mittens, then I went to put them on, and I kept switching hands thinking, something's wrong. And yeah, well, something is wrong. I wove in the ends. I did the whole kit and caboodle before I noticed. So now I'm going to be honest. I'm super curious. When you make a mistake like that, do you rip it out or do you put it aside? What do you do when you make a big old mistake like that? I considered it. And in fact, I went on, because I did these first, the coriander, and I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and knit the pinecone heather because I want to see if I just am misinterpreting the pattern or if I just made a tremendous mistake or what I did. So these came out perfect. The pinecone heather came out perfect. But at that point, I said, well, these aren't even comfortable to wear. They twist a little bit. They're just completely discombobulated. So I decided I am going to go ahead and rip them back. I'm just going to have to find where I wove in my ends, and you know, you rip things back the same way you knit them, right? So I have to rip out the thumb first, then start here and come back down. And what I'll do is just take myself back to where the increases for the thumb began, so I won't lose all this work, and I'll just reknit. It doesn't take a long time. And I said, Stephanie, you will never wear them. You will never wear them if you don't fix them. And I do love them. They're the perfect weight for me. I go out for a walk each morning, and because I'm in Western Colorado, and we're actually starting to have some winter weather, my hands get cold. And so I do like to have warm mittens. I had to share, I should have brought one with me. My mom and stepdad live in New England, and I always say the environment in New England, I apologize to anyone who lives there. I grew up there, so I can say this. The environment there is always trying to kill you. In the winter, it's trying to freeze you to death. In the summer, it's trying to melt you and kill you with bugs. So she goes for a walk, though. I shared in my second episode, she turned 80. She is the hardiest little person. She goes out for a walk, a vigorous walk, and I'll talk to her sometimes. And I'll say, oh, Mom, what's going on? And she's like, oh, I just went out for my walk. And I'm like, oh, yeah, is it cold? And she said, oh, with the wind chill, it's like 20 below, but it's very invigorating. And I'm like, okay, Mommy, whatever makes you happy. But she does always ask for warm things to cover up her extremities. But this Christmas, I made them hand warmers. So they are microwavable. I sewed them, little hand warmers, and they're filled with rice. So what you do is you pop them in the microwave for 30 seconds before you go out for your walk, and you slip them into the palm of both hands, both mittens, and they keep warm for about 30 minutes. So I'm not sure if they've used them yet, but it was great fun to make those for them, and I thought I should make those for myself on those super cold mornings. The other thing I really wanted to point out, which I'll do on the coriander, I'll do it on the one that's correct. This has a really lovely, I'm not sure if you can see, but the ribbing is a slightly different pattern, also half fisherman's rib, than this. So what's lovely is you fold this up and you have a really nice warm cuff. Also, I don't know how you are, but often what I will do with the folded cuff is fold it, I make sure it covers the under layer. So if I wear a turtleneck under my sweater, I'll put my mitten on and make sure that there's no gap between, showing my skin, and then I'm nice and toasty. So hand knit mittens are incredible. They are a fantastic gift. The only thing I would say I do in terms of gifting, many people prefer to wear gloves with the fingers differentiated rather than mittens. So be careful about your recipient, because it's a shame to make a really pretty pair of mittens only to find they don't wear them because they need their hands available. I did try making gloves several different times. I struggled with it. I didn't master the end situation. So when you have to trim your ends, I just found that my gloves always had, for me, an abundance of ends that just kind of flipped out, and I haven't quite mastered that. So that's something I hope to tackle when I have a smidge more patience. The next, so those are my Ole mittens, and I will show you when I finish it. I promise I will be a good girl and take myself to, school, make sure that I do it. The next thing I want to, we're starting to actually, we have had a very mild winter here in Western Colorado with the temperatures unseasonably warm. And for those of us that love our hand knits, this has been very upsetting. And I spoke to the weather people and I said, it would be nice to have some cold temperatures because I can't wear my hand knits if I'm too warm. So starting in a couple of days, we're supposed to have some actual really cold temperatures where it doesn't get above 30 during the day, which is my favorite. So I'm hoping in my next episode, either the next one or the one following, to do a bulky knit sweater discussion. So I cast on, I've had this yarn. This is a Pearl Soho yarn. I believe it's called, I'm gonna have to get you the name. I think it's called something merino, super soft merino. But what had happened is Pearl Soho is a really well-known yarn shop that is based in New York City. I think they have another location in California, but I'm pretty sure their hub is New York City, and I've not been there. It is for sure someplace I'd love to go someday. They have all kinds of yarn. They have an unbelievable library of free knitting patterns for hats, cowls, scarves, so many blankets, dishcloths. You can, if you are looking for a pattern and you're trying to save $1, check out Pearl Soho. Now, of course, they pair the yarn that they have with the patterns that they offer. So their intention is to hopefully get you to purchase some of their yarn, but you can use whatever yarn you like. I bought this yarn several years ago and made a free pattern of theirs called the Fluted Cowl. It was very beautiful. It was one of the most challenging things I've ever knit. And I think I knit it 4 times. I could not get the stitch to come out the way I wanted to. And when I finished it, I just found I didn't wear it. So I said, you know what? I should pull that out and reclaim the yarn for another pattern. And I'm not going to talk too much about this because I do want to save it for my bulky knit episode. But there's a pattern writer I just love. She's called Good Night, Good Day. And she has a number of fantastic, I mean, I swear they knit up in like 3 days, her patterns. But she uses all bulky weight yarn, and she's super, excuse me, I'm spitting, super fashionable. So when you put on the stuff, one of the things with bulky knit yarns is you can feel like a little, who's that little marshmallow they poke the tummy? I can't think of the name. Anyway, maybe the Pillsbury Doughboy, maybe that's it. But anyway, you feel like that when you're wearing it. And this is not my favorite thing, but I also love a bulky knit to be, when it's really cold, you put that on it and you just feel super cozy. So I want to be cozy, but I do not want to look like the Pillsbury Dough person. This is not my cup of tea. So her patterns suit me in that way. I have been wanting to make her Nanaimo Cardigan. So I said, I'm going to take my beautiful Pearl Soho, this is the color Gray Fig, which is this really earthy, plummy color, and I really like it. So I cast it on last night, goes very fast. This is the collar, and I'm just starting short rows, so I'm probably not going to be able to show this to you too well. But this is the collar. It's a high collar, and then you obviously just knit down it's knit flat, and you create this fantastic, look at how pretty that is, garment. The ribbing is done on a US 13. Again, I'll talk more about this when I show you the finished object. And the body calls for size 19 needles. I used 17. I'm still checking to see if I get gauge with it. But I don't know if you've ever knit with these fat needles. Let me tell you something. Goes fast. So it's very funny because right now I have my birch pullover, which I'm still working on, which is a fingering weight sweater. Does not go quickly, very satisfying, but does not go quickly. So sometimes I need to switch over to something where I feel like, okay, I'm getting somewhere. This definitely fits the bill. So that will be great fun to show you, hopefully, like I say, in the next episode or the one after that. That is my knitting update for you. I hope that you are enjoying this entree into 2026. It's going to be a great year. I think it's so fun because it's the year of the horse. And I saw this fantastic saying which said, find your horsepower, which I just love. I've grown up around horses, and horses for me, I love how individual their personalities are. Ours tended to be giant puppies. So we had dogs, and then whatever we did, the horses were right behind us. My sister in particular had a very special relationship with horses and grew up riding. She got thrown any number of times. So my dad always wanted to take that out on the horse, but of course we did not. So anyway, I love that the year of the horse, because I think some people have the idea that horses are like, crazy hyper all the time. In fact, horses are very peaceful, typically very calm animals, and just very loving, very intelligent. And their eyes always get me because they have those liquid brown eyes where they just feel like they're looking into your very being. And if they love you, they love you. So let's find our horsepower. And by that, I don't mean aggressive, go, 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 go. I mean peace and love and loyalty and just all goodwill. Thank you very, very much for joining me today. I wish you smooth stitches and so much peace.